Theseus, the prince, the monster, and the labyrinth. The sword under the stone. Unlike Heracles, who was born with godlike strength, Theseus was born with a secret. He was the son of Aethra, a princess of Trozen, and Aegeus, the king of Athens, though some whispers say his true father was Poseidon. Before Theseus was born, King Aegeus had to return to Athens. He buried his sword and sandals under a massive, heavy rock. He told Aethra, "If the boy grows strong enough to lift this stone, send him to me." Theseus grew up brave and ambitious. On his 16th birthday, his mother led him to the rock. With a heave of mighty effort, the young prince lifted the stone, retrieved the tokens, and set out to Athens to claim his birthright. He chose the dangerous land route, infested with bandits and monsters. He didn't just survive, he cleaned up the coast. He killed the bandit Sinis, who tied victims to pine trees and tore them apart. He slew Procrestus, the innkeeper, who stretched or chopped off guests' legs to fit his iron bed. By the time Theseus arrived in Athens, he was already a hero. He revealed himself to his father, King Aegeus, just moments before being poisoned by the sorceress Medea, who was living with the king. Aegeus recognized the sword and knocked the poison cup away. The prince had returned. But Athens was not a happy city. It was a city in mourning. Years earlier, the son of King Minos of Crete had been killed in Athens. In revenge, the powerful King Minos waged war and won. He demanded a terrible tribute. Every 9 years, or every year, Athens had to send 7 young men and 7 young women to Crete. They were not going as slaves. They were going as food. They were thrown into the labyrinth, a gigantic, impossible maze built by the master inventor Daedalus. Living in the center of this maze was the Minotaur, a monster with the body of a man and the head of a bull, who fed only on human flesh. The time for the third tribute had come. The black-sailed ship was ready to depart. The people wept. Theseus, unable to stand the slaughter of his people, volunteered to be one of the 7 young men. "I will kill the monster," he vowed to his father. King Aegeus, heartbroken, made Theseus promise one thing. "If you survive, change the black sails of the ship to white sails. That way I will know you are alive before you even reach the harbor." Theseus agreed. The thread of life. When the ship arrived in Crete, the youths were paraded before King Minos. But in the crowd, someone was watching Theseus. It was Ariadne, the daughter of Minos. She fell instantly, hopelessly in love with the handsome Athenian prince. She knew that strength alone would not save him. The labyrinth was designed so that no one who entered could ever find the exit. They would be trapped until the Minotaur found them. That night, Ariadne went to the prison cell. She offered to help Theseus escape on one condition. He must take her with him to Athens and make her his queen. Theseus promised. The next morning, the 14 tributes were pushed into the labyrinth. The massive stone doors slammed shut. The maze was dark, damp, and smelled of old blood. Theseus tied the thread to the entrance and led the group, unraveling the ball as he went. They walked for hours through twisting corridors that seemed to change shape. Finally, they heard it. the heavy, wet breathing of a bull. Theseus left the others behind and moved forward alone. In the center of the maze, he found the Minotaur sleeping. The beast awoke with a roar that shook the walls. The fight was brutal. The Minotaur was stronger, fueled by hunger and rage. Theseus had no weapons in some versions, so he had to use the monster's own strength against it. He dodged the charging horns, leaped onto the beast's back, and with a wrestler's grip, he snapped the bullman's neck, or stabbed him with a hidden sword. The monster fell dead. But killing the beast was only half the battle. Without the thread, Theseus would have died of starvation in the dark. He followed Ariadne's string, winding it back up, leading the terrified tributes out of the maze and into the fresh night air. The betrayal at Naxos. They fled to the harbor, taking Ariadne with them. They bored holes in the Cretan ships so Minos could not pursue them and set sail for Athens. They stopped at the island of Naxos to rest, and here the story takes a dark turn. While Ariadne was sleeping on the beach, Theseus gathered his men and set sail. He abandoned the woman who saved his life. Why? Some say he was cruel and used her. Others say the god Dionysus appeared to Theseus in a dream and demanded Ariadne for himself, threatening to destroy Athens if Theseus refused. Whatever the reason, Ariadne woke up to see the sails of her lover disappearing over the horizon. She wept in despair until Dionysus arrived to comfort her and make her his immortal wife. But for Theseus, this act of abandonment, or obedience to the gods, would cost him dearly. The Sea of Grief. Distraught by the loss of Ariadne, or perhaps dizzy with the joy of victory, Theseus forgot the most important promise he made to his father. He forgot to change the sails. The ship approached Athens flying the black sails of death. High on the cliffs of Cape Sunion, King Aegeus had been waiting for weeks, staring at the horizon. When he saw the black sails, his heart shattered. He believed his son was dead. Overcome with grief, the king threw himself off the cliff into the churning waters below. He drowned before the ship even docked. When Theseus stepped ashore expecting a hero's welcome, he was met with a funeral. He was now king of Athens, but the crown was bought with his father's life. To honor his father, Theseus named the sea after him. To this day, the waters between Greece and Turkey are known as the Aegean Sea. Theseus went on to be a great king, unifying the scattered towns of Attica into the great city of Athens, the Sinoikimos. He established democracy and law, but he remains a tragic figure, a man who could defeat monsters, but whose forgetfulness and complicated heart caused tragedy for those he loved.